Good afternoon. Welcome to the session, and thanks so much for joining us this evening and at such short notice. I thought it was really a good idea to give you a little brief update on where we are with regulations. And then we're going to talk about some proactive measures that we can take to protect our businesses in the future. If you've got any questions, please put them in the chat during the session and we'll have a Q&A at the end. This session is also being recorded, so don't worry, we'll be publishing the video after the event. So, short-term let regulations, what's it all about? Is it about health and safety? Is it about housing? Is it about antisocial behaviour? Let's face it, I'm not sure anyone really knows anymore, certainly not our policymakers. What we do know is that on the 19th of January, MSPs voted 68 to 53 to support short-term let licensing, despite 5 years of sensible debate and discussion and us telling them that it's going to be a terrible idea. Local authorities have until the 1st of October of this year to have their licensing schemes in place. The Scottish Government's working group will be publishing guidance for local authorities and operators tomorrow. I've literally just found that out. And whilst we've done our very best to shape this guidance, there simply wasn't a lot they were going to listen to. And also, we have to reflect the licensing order that was laid. So we didn't have a lot of play in terms of the guidance. Existing operators will have until the 1st of April 2023 to apply for a license. If you don't do so, you will be committing a criminal offence on the 2nd of April, which is liable for a £50,000 fine or a prison sentence, because we're that bad. You will need to have your licence in place by the 1st of April 2024. Also on the 19th of January, it wasn't a good day. MSPs voted in favour of planning control area regulations by 87 to 33. And that's where we are, the perfect storm of regulations against our sector. So quick off the mark, on the 23rd of February, Edinburgh Council approved a proposal to designate the entire council area as a short-term let control area. The goal for control areas is to manage high concentrations of secondary letting, restrict or prevent short-term lets in places or types of buildings where it is not deemed appropriate, and help local authorities ensure that homes are used to best effect in their areas. Edinburgh Council is the first council in Scotland to approve the proposal for their council area, which is going to require every single self-catering unit or short-term let to apply for planning permission. That's for entire properties, not for home sharing. This undeniably sets a precedent for other councils across Scotland to follow suit. And as you know, Highland Council is set on designating an area around Badenoch and Strathspey as a control area. Fife will no doubt look at doing the same for East Neuk and Ely, and where else is anybody's guess at this point. Please don't forget that local elections are on May the 5th. This is, whether councillors like it or not, an election issue. Do not be shy in bringing your concerns about these regulations to their attention. It's your last chance to help shape their decisions. Call me cynical, but not issuing the guidance until tomorrow seems remarkably timely, given that we're going to go into purdah shortly and they won't be able to do anything and it won't become an election issue. Anyway, the proposed short-term let control area in Edinburgh can't come into effect unless it's approved by the Scottish Government. The council submitted the proposals to the Scottish Government on the 25th of February to consider. It's now a matter for the Scottish Government to determine whether to approve or refuse the proposal, and whether any further procedure is required before they can make the decision. In the event that the Scottish ministers give their approval for the proposed short-term let control area, it's the intention of the council to proceed to implement it by publishing details of when it will come into force. I received that from the head of planning yesterday. That may be just 28 days from approval. So we are literally on a timetable that is incredibly tight here. Please also note that if you're going to apply for planning permission fees go up to £600 on the 1st of April. Again, extraordinarily timely. The proposal adopted by City of Edinburgh Council is going to have a devastating effect on the accommodation industry in Edinburgh, which is clearly so much more diverse than simply Airbnb, despite what the proposal suggests. It is deeply regrettable that the City of Edinburgh Council has adopted a scheme which is misconceived in its ability to address any of the underlying policy objectives. The consequences of this, intended or otherwise, is restrictive for consumers and anti-business, and in turn is going to have a devastating impact on cleaners, concierge teams, marketing agencies, and the onward supply chain. By voting to include the entire city in this anti-business and restrictive scheme, City of Edinburgh Council has shown that it doesn't care for the many small businesses who work incredibly hard to ensure that the capital continues to have a world-leading tourism offering. Councils are well aware that the real problem is a chronic lack of house building, but it's much more expedient to scapegoat short-term rental professionals than do anything real to combat that. I don't need to tell you that Edinburgh's self-caterers, as well as self-caterers across the country, play a key role in ensuring that the city maintains its position as a world-leading destination for tourists. And this horribly excessive measure threatens that with extinction. So I return to the original question, what is this all about? Everyone that works in the self-catering industry supports health and safety for all guests. Of course we do. Commercial operators have worked within pre-existing legislative frameworks for decades. We've coexisted harmoniously with residential dwellings for decades. We're responsible hosts that welcome guests, be they tourists, business guests, blue chip companies moving staff to Edinburgh, film companies housing staff during filming in the city, consulates needing to house scholars, and individuals relocating to the city. We've got specific legislation in place concerning fire and other safety regulations. And we've also got specific legislation in place to address antisocial behaviour. You wonder why the council doesn't appear to have used the antisocial behaviour powers to tackle the noisy troublemakers, but they haven't. Why would introducing a planning control area to Edinburgh be the only or appropriate solution when it will also close legitimate small businesses that have been operating for less than 10 years, but have never caused a single issue for their neighbours? Despite the huge benefits that self-catering brings to local communities and the very clear economic benefits, £867 million to the Scottish economy and £70 million to Edinburgh's economy alone, we're still blamed for destroying neighbourhood cohesion and for being the root cause of neighbour nuisance and loss of residential amenity. Now, we do recognise that some of the problems highlighted by some small local communities in Scotland, and these issues have been exacerbated recently by some of the more unscrupulous hosts who don't perhaps operate as professionally as we like. As an association, the ASSC represents 153 professional self-catering businesses in Edinburgh and almost 1,400 throughout Scotland. We aren't the problem, but unfortunately, we're all being tarred with the same brush. However, whether we like it or not, we are where we are, facing the perfect storm of anti-business regulations, licensing, and control areas. So what we need to do now is we need to focus on protecting and saving our businesses and using all the tools at our disposal to do so. In 2019, the ASSC launched a policy proposal paper, Forward Together, a collaborative approach to short-term letting. We're always a solution-led association. In this document, we suggest some simple but effective technological solutions which address some of the perceived issues, including in relation to tackling antisocial behaviour or noise nuisance. Professional operators now need to be ahead of the game in terms of being able to evidence that they don't cause problems for their neighbours. We need to start doing it now. It's essential. Proving that you're not negatively impacting the residential amenity of your neighbours may make the difference between your business being allowed to continue or it being shut down. So what can we do? There are many things that we can do, but step one is monitoring the noise of our guests. Using a noise monitoring device may indeed preempt a possible additional condition to short-term licensing in Edinburgh and beyond. So we're absolutely delighted to be working in collaboration with ReRespect and Room Monitor to deliver some really robust initiatives that may well protect your business. And I really hope that these are initiatives that you will take on board and run with, and we hope that it will protect your business going forwards. The ReRespect initiative gives self-catering businesses a seal of approval to illustrate responsible hosting to guests and neighbours alike, using technology to solve the perceived or real problems. Noise monitoring is going to provide the empirical data that you need to fight back against any kind of complaints about noise from neighbours and therefore your policymakers from shutting you down. Marketing your properties as being equipped with noise monitoring solution may indeed prevent any future antisocial behaviour and therefore protect your business. I really strongly believe that using noise monitoring device, especially if you're in the vicinity of close by neighbours, it shouldn't be seen as a cost, but an investment. And if you're a property manager, it shouldn't be an option for your clients. It should be mandatory. It's proved incredibly effective in Barcelona, Madrid, and Paris, and indeed has reversed the negative narrative in these cities. Let's do the same here, not just in Edinburgh, but across Scotland. It's critical to create a narrative that revolves around sustainable tourism within Edinburgh self-catering community and throughout Scotland to improve the perception of self-catering or short-term letting, which frankly has become a dirty word. So on that note, I would love to introduce you to Carlos, who can tell you more about his options and what they can provide in order to help us do this. Carlos, over to you.
Thank you very much, Fiona. Thanks for having me in. It's a pleasure to be here today explaining a little bit what we believe has made the difference in Barcelona. Just briefly about me, I'm the CEO of Room Monitor and We Respect. And prior to this, I was working as business development for Spain and Portugal at Airbnb. So I'm quite informed about the industry. Okay. What we want to show today is when I was hearing you now, Fiona, many of the things that you just said resonated very well with what Barcelona faced like 5 years ago. And we find ways to turn around this situation. And today's session for us is the opportunity to share what we did, how we did it, and how we believe we can support your case. Okay, it's important to point out that the founders of Room Monitor are Ignacio and Eduardo. The two brothers are property managers. They were having issues with buildings and issues with neighbors, and because they were engineers, they thought, okay, how can we solve that? And they put a solution in place that it was so useful that now is used by more than 60% of the property managers in Barcelona. Okay, so today's session is about improving short-term rental relationship with local stakeholders with the use of technology, and we want to share the success case of We Respect. Okay, so first thing is that for us to share is that there are many times in which your guests may be disturbing your neighbors with no nuisances and you may not be aware of it. That's the typical situation when we speak with someone and say, oh, no, I don't have any issues. And then after using our services, they say, wow, I was not aware that I had those issues. The important thing also is that we don't talk about when we talk about nuisances, everyone just feels that we're talking about the big crazy party. But that's just like one part of the iceberg. What people is not aware of is that a dinner that is getting too long, the TV too loud, or some little kids playing too late at night, or listening to music too loud, all those things and many other are also causing like a lot of nuisances to neighbors that may not be complaining on a daily basis, but day after day after day after day, they end up being really annoyed. And our point of view is that we need to find ways to make sure that our businesses are sustainable in the long term. Right, so that's a little bit what we feel. You in general, property manager and host put a lot of effort into check-ins and check-out, right? Before the stay, marketing, booking, check-in, everything is automated. After the stay, check-out and starting again, also everything is super automated. But during the stay, there's a complete black box. No one knows what's going on. And here is what we believe is that with the use of technology, noise monitoring, you can have alarms and you can have interventions, and then you can improve the guest, as we said, the host, the guest, and the whole community experience. And that's a little bit what we think. Have you ever considered ways in which you can improve the relationship with your neighbors and ensure short-term rentals are sustainable in the long term? Our vision is precisely to put an end on those nuisances and bring harmony to the relationship between landlords, neighbors, and society as a whole. As said, Room Monitor was born in Barcelona, and we struggled a lot with the local city hall, and we had a very tough and hard conversations and a lot of threats to get all those listings closed. what we've come up with in these 5 years of experience that we've accumulated, it's a multi-platform solution to control noise in short-term rentals. As you see, all you need is like a small device that it's easy to install in the apartment, and then you get all the information on a dashboard where you can control it, even if you have one single unit or all the units that you may have. You get the information about the noise that it's going out in real time, and you can set up it's super configurable. You can set up your own alarms, but you receive the alarms by SMS or by call, and up to 3 numbers. You can check more than one property. You have master views. You have 24/7 customer service on our side, and you can even integrate through API. What makes our solution special is that it's not, first, it's completely privacy safe. We don't record any voice or we don't record sound. We just measure the intensity level. So it's completely GDPR compliant, and it's 100% privacy safe and approved by the main platforms as a device that adds value to the experience. What we do is we don't monitor noise based on a sound threshold, on a maximum sound threshold. So for example, if you have the window open and a big motorbike just crosses the street and makes a lot of sound, and it's just a peak of sound, a sound peak, that won't trigger an alarm. Instead, what we do, we check the noise pattern and we look for trends where they see that the noise is increasing little by little, but it's increasing and the trend is going up. Then what we do is we launch an alarm when we understand, based on all our historical data, that this will end up being a noise nuisance for the neighbor. Okay. The key thing here is that with Room Monitor or with our tool, you get alerted only when you need to take action, and you anticipate the issue before it's too late. Because in the end, many of us will learn about the complaints that we have from our neighbors because they call us, right? And what we want is just to anticipate the neighbor being annoyed. So that's what we try to do on a daily basis with the thousands of apartments that we manage in more than 28 cities across the globe. As said, our data, our tool provides real-time data. It's super customizable, so you can set up the sensitivity in any device. So maybe in one apartment or one flat, you need that to be super sensitive. In another one, the neighbors are less let's say less strict, and you can be less sensitive. We provide you with a daily report of the incidences that have been there on the day before, and you can have everything under control. How it works is that our device detects the noise. When the noise begins, it's detected, and then when it's detected, we have our own dedicated team that can handle the alerts and takes action based on an agreed protocol with a property manager, right? Calling guest, host, or both, and then the noise decreases, and we have happy neighbors. The good thing here is that, yeah, you can do it on your own, but what it's clear is that we are fully dedicated to do it for you. We have experience working with hundreds of property managers who manage hundreds of listings, and we monitor their alarms on behalf of them. We also provide a personalized neighbor telephone hotline that hosts can share with the neighbors, so that they can contact at any time to report an incident. And that neighbor and that telephone number is redirected to our team, who will answer as a representative from your company, and take action based on the report that has been shared by the neighbor. As said, we have a lot of experience, and we have very good success cases. Like, for example, this is pretty actual from October to December of this year, of 2021. And this is an example where, from a total of 5,700 alerts generated, the 72% first were solved on the first alert, right? We didn't need to have a second alert or whatever. That first alert probably was tackling all those nuisances that guests are not even aware that there are big nuisances. Like, for example, at dinner where the sound is too loud or TV too loud, when they receive an SMS or a call or whatever, and they understand that they are making a they may be annoying or being a nuisance for the neighbors, they just immediately take action, and they even say, oh, I'm sorry, I was not aware of that, right? Besides that, on the top of that first alert, if things are not solved, we send a second alert that ends up being solving an additional 22%. Then if we need to continue to participate or to intervene on the third alert, we solve 3.4% of the alarms, and just 1.8% of the total alerts, so 100 out of 5,700 have been solved by police. But there are times where it's good that we also get police involved, because those are the cases where there's like a big party that it's unstoppable, and we do the best, but if not, at least we make sure that it's taken care of, right? So that's the case for Barcelona. And because that worked that well, we replicated the same thing in Madrid. And if you check, the numbers are pretty similar. The number of alarms are smaller because we are growing. It's been our first expansion city, but the numbers are very similar. From the total alerts generated, you solve 73% on the first alert, then an additional 22. It's pretty similar, right? So we've done in Barcelona, in Madrid, and also in Paris. And the numbers are pretty similar in all those cities in terms. So guest behavior and host behavior is in key capitals and key cities across Europe is almost the same. So what I have here is a small testimonial from Angela Watson, who is the CEO of Numa, and I just want her to share her point of view, because I think it's helpful. I hope everyone can hear that. If not, just let us know on the chat. But I'll put it. It's a short update, and I think it's worth it.
Well, we've been using Room Monitor for around 5-6 years now, and I can honestly say that this has helped our business so much with managing guests who are maybe problematic, and also a relationship with the surrounding neighbours. In all honesty, no one wants to have tourist apartments next door. I would be a little bit unhappy if I was getting different clients coming in every day, but as soon as we explained Room Monitor to the neighbours who are sharing the buildings, it was much easier to have a good relationship with them. What Room Monitor does is it gives you an alert before the neighbours have a chance to get annoyed with any parties, loud noises that are happening in the apartment. It means that you get one call from Room Monitor, or Room Monitor calls the clients directly, instead of having 5, 6, 10, 20 calls from angry neighbours that you're spending a whole day trying to resolve. So with one call, you resolve a problem. The relationship with the neighbours and the guests is much more comfortable. It's much easier, and you can focus your team in developing other areas of your business. You can develop new ways to make the guest experience more comfortable. You don't need to be worried about the complaints and the problem part of the business.
Cool. Just checking because I don't know if Fiona, you can confirm that everyone could listen to that, and we didn't have any issue in terms of audio.
It was perfect my end.
Cool, that's good. And then we have a second one, testimonial on what we will be presenting now, which is the We Respect campaign. Let's just see this testimonial on the We Respect campaign, which is what we are proposing to really put a lot of effort in Scotland, because it's part of a commitment to the city that the community, the host community, and all the property managers are committed for the long-term sustainability of their businesses. So let's listen to Angela, and I will go through it after that.
We also, through Room Monitor, have the benefit of belonging to the We Respect campaign, which is incredibly important in Barcelona. Barcelona is a huge city, and there have been a lot of companies popping up all over the place. The We Respect campaign means that the guests can find a professional company with high standards, making sure that we work collectively as a group to ensure that no illegal properties are being announced, that the guests arrive, they know they have a good quality of an apartment, and everything will be taken care of legally.
Okay, after this, I want to explain a little bit what We Respect is about and why it is a a success case in Barcelona. So in summary, Barcelona's local authorities have moved from totally attacking STR, short-term rentals, and seeing us as the bad guys, to recognizing its role into the local economy and supporting its positive coexistence with the Barcelona neighbors. And we have to say that if you tell me this 5 years ago, I would think that that would be impossible. But the reality is that Room Monitor has been one of the enablers of this change of perception, because in the end, we've been seen as a tool and as an independent player with an independent player, an independent brand that is supporting the category, the industry, to be more socially responsible. And we've helped join forces and get closer short-term rental associations, local regulators, and even Airbnb and other platforms or OTAs. What is the We Respect seal about? It's a seal of commitment to the city. What we do is we convince local industry leaders and pioneers to promote commitment from the rest, who will act as followers, because it's a seal it's a seal that explains that home promotes good coexistence between neighbors, guests, and owners. It becomes a benchmark for social sustainability in the holiday rental sector within the city and in the face of neighbors and local administration. It generates added value and positively reinforces both the business and city brands. And again, it's just part of the ecosystem of entities that are committed to the sustainability. How to get the We Respect seal? So in order for this certificate or this seal to have like a lot of value, we need to commit to some things. And with the We Respect seal, you commit to have a noise monitoring system in the flat to avoid complaints from the neighbors. You commit to have a neighbor telephone hotline. A neighbor hotline needs to be available so that they can contact in case of potential disturbing situations. And some of you may have already a 24/7 phone available, but some of you may not. With us, you make sure that and we have a lot of successful examples in Paris where property managers that had issues or whatever, you share that phone number with all the building neighbors, and they know that this gives both the property manager peace of mind and the neighbors peace of mind, because they know that if there's something going on, someone will always answer, no matter the time it is. Okay. It also shows respect. You need to have respect for the environment. You need to promote for the environment. By sorting, you need to promote the sorting waste and making responsible use of water and energy, and also you need to make sure that common spaces that are shared with neighbors are respected and everything is taken care of. Okay. Which are the facts? The facts is that in Barcelona we got like strong political support. We have more than 60% of the short-term rentals in Barcelona, or the property managers in Barcelona, have Room Monitor installed with a night assistance service. 85% of the property managers use Room Monitor, and 60% are certified by We Respect. With that, we are helping the whole category be closer to the stakeholders and the city regulators, and you will see how we do that. 99% of night issues are handled in less than 30 minutes by our team. And there's been like a clear recognition of the improvement in the coexistence thanks to the interventions of Room Monitor by the mediation service of the Barcelona City Council. So the Barcelona City Council created a mediation service between neighbors and property managers, and they were the first ones really recognizing that when Room Monitor was in place, things were getting much better. I don't want to get into the details, but we have, as I said, we launched the first We Respect campaign in 2019. We incorporated Airbnb as a We Respect collaborator in 2020. We shared we do one annual campaign with the Barcelona City Council where we make an official event and we give those seals to the property managers. And we've launched it in Madrid, and we want to launch it also in Scotland. In terms of facts, we've moved from very, very, very bad press, like noise and tourist floods, the main problems of Barcelona, of coexistence in Barcelona, noise, the best reason of conflict with short-term rentals, and you have here all the links to all the newspapers. Short-term rentals cause 2,000 incidents a year in Barcelona. So we've moved from all this negative press to a situation where I will just translate what the City Hall representative said, which is in Spanish, but he said, it's still soon to take conclusions, but we are very, very pleased with the first balance. We believe that this is the path to follow. And also sonometers and night agents against noise in tourist flats, more than 500 legal short-term rentals take measures to improve coexistence on their neighborhoods. That's how it started. And we moved from this, you can see the press that we were getting, like super negative press with lots of party guys, to the press just showing that the industry was really proactive, that it was doing a lot of work and that it was pushing for the long-term sustainability. This is the event that we did in Barcelona this year with the first certificate, where we gave the certification of the We Respect seal to all the property managers. And you can see here that what we achieved was to put on the same table all the key stakeholders. This is the City Hall tourism representative. This is the country manager for Airbnb in Spain and Portugal. And this is the Barcelona Short-Term Rentals Association president. On this side is the room monitor team. But it's the first time ever that a City Hall representative is okay taking a picture together with the Airbnb and the local Short-Term Rental Association as with no fear, because in the end they've been like having a lot of complaints from neighbors, etc. And now they are proud that actions have been taken and things are now sustainable. Okay. So what's next? Our ambition is to support European short-term rental associations replicating our We Respect playbook, allowing them to improve relationship with key stakeholders in their local ecosystems. And that's why we are super proud to be partnering with the ASCC in this case, because we are convinced that we can really help. Based on what we've seen in Barcelona and in other cities, replicating this playbook, which we believe it really helps change the perception from the local authorities. And our team has a very extensive knowledge on the short-term rental industry, and we will be taking care of your properties if you join Room Monitor and you get the We Respect seal. To handle any issues that you may have. You'll receive a report with each one of your activities, so you are always updated. And here is where the special deal that we have for all ASCC members, where you can see that we are giving ASCC the best price in the industry. How Room Monitor works is you need to pay for the device, and then you have a monthly fee per apartment. And as you can see, the regular price for the device is 90. With Airbnb, we have a promotion where it's £39. And with the ASCC, we are putting these at £34.9. And in terms of the total cost of the subscription per apartment, it's £16.9 per apartment, which consists of the noise alarm subscription, which is the basic service where users get installed and you get the data, plus the alarm assistant subscription, where our team handles everything for you. So for £16.9 per apartment, you just have peace of mind that everything will be taken care of. You get the seal of We Respect, which gives you the opportunity to show that you are social responsible. We help improve the whole industry, and overall, we protect our businesses. And I think that's all on my side, and we will have time for questions, but that's even better in case there are questions. I didn't want to get too long, but please let me know if there's any doubt. I can see the questions myself, I think.
Thanks, Carlos. You're an absolute star. Thanks so much. I just genuinely, well, I agree with somebody that Maya that's put in the chat. This sounds like a no-brainer. What a fabulous idea. And also Anna said, We Respect sounds like a fantastic initiative. They are both brilliant initiatives, and this is a really great piece of kit. I've been working with Room Monitor for a number of years now, and it's just been getting to the point where now is the time we really need to start using this technology and showing that we're a responsible sector and illustrating to our policymakers that they have gone way overboard with what they're doing. And we will continue as an association to try and reverse some of the more damaging bits of the legislation, and also to keep conversations going that we protect legitimate businesses. I'm not fussed, if I'm absolutely honest, about unscrupulous Ben and his Airbnb in Edinburgh. I don't really care about him. I care about our members that are legitimate professional businesses. And it's using this kind of technology and these initiatives that will be able to protect that sector, change the brand perception, change the narrative. And as Carlos has just said, it's worked in Barcelona. Barcelona was the worst situation in the whole of Europe, if not the world. And they've completely flipped it by changing the narrative. We can do the same thing in Scotland and flip the narrative from us having the most draconian legislation to evidencing that it's not necessary. So that's our commitment to the sector, and working with people like Room Monitor and Carlos is how we can do that. Dickens Accommodation said this is so impressive and a true solution. If we have a photo with Adam McVeigh in a couple of years, it will be a miracle. But jokes aside, this is brilliant. Adam McVeigh is the
I can imagine he's someone putting some difficulties into the business.
He's a lovely chap. We get on awfully well, but I would love that photo. So we're going to try and aim for that, right? And I'm actually going to try and get you a meeting with him. You'll like him very much. So Carlos, we've got some questions that are really quite relevant. But somebody has just said, loving the idea of We Respect, which I think is brilliant. And I think if we can do We Respect in Edinburgh and Inverness and Glasgow and all these other places in Scotland, I think it would be a really fantastic thing. So, quick question. Carlos, do we need to include in our terms and conditions that we are using a noise monitoring device?
Yeah, we have to put that on the listing description, and it's good in the end because it just like allows you to get rid of those guests that are looking for bad behavior that could propose damages to the listings. Airbnb suggests that you put that on the listing description, and we suggest we don't see any issue putting it there. But there's also one more hidden point on Airbnb where you there's a special field where you can put and you can select that you have a noise monitoring device, and then you can set up a small description. I will share that with you, Fiona, and we can add that to the presentation before we publish it, where you put like, hey, we have noise monitoring devices. Please make sure that that you behave properly after 8 p.m. or whatever. Otherwise, measures will be taken and you will be removed from the apartment or whatever, right? So because you will be breaching the contract. That's one thing that I wanted to mention. And before I forget, the other important thing is that now Airbnb can, as you were mentioning at the beginning, can accept all those reports that we provide in terms of noise historical data to prove either an incorrect, a guest that is complaining about something that is incorrect, or a guest that is behaving really bad. You can prove either ways. And if a neighbor is complaining to the city hall that there's noise, and it's just because he just wants you out, you have proof of evidence that there's no noise. And the other important thing that we were discussing with Fiona is that the more of you joining this, the more like blended data, the more like robust data we will have as an industry in Scotland and city by city to support that. In the end, as you said, the number of situations that are really like crazy parties are really tiny. And in many cases, we are just targeted, short-term rentals are just targeted as the responsibles for a kind of tourism that maybe also staying in other kind of tourist accommodation types, for example.
Yeah, I think all of that is so incredibly valid. We really need to change the narrative on our sector, because we, as I said at the beginning, we're seen as a dirty word at the moment, which is absolutely outrageous given the incredible professional operators that we have in our sector. Question. I understand noise monitoring could perhaps enhance the relationship with neighbours, but from a guest perspective, the word monitor could give the impression that privacy is being invaded and therefore put them off booking in the first place. Presumably, Carlos, that's just a communication piece.
Yeah, I don't see that comment, but in any case, you can. If you don't want to put it on the description, you can put it more hidden. You can put it just on the field that Airbnb allows in, which is not seen unless they click precisely to check the security systems that the listing has. So that gives you peace of mind that if you don't want to lose conversion, you won't.
Okay, but I mean, again, it's all in communication, right? If why you're doing it and the fact that you're proving you're responsible hosting, maybe it's going to put off the people that aren't going to behave nicely in the first place, which is a good thing.
We have property managers who feel very comfortable putting that to just avoid those negative guests that they don't want, and we have other property managers that prefer to put that slightly smaller because they are afraid of conversion. In our case, it's something that in the end, the important thing is to have the seal to push for a good lobby strategy, and in the end to make sure that you control what's going on, which is the important piece.
Yeah, so actually this is a kind of multifaceted conversation. I'm really urging people, especially in the likes of Edinburgh, and that will escalate, to start using this kind of technology. But actually, in a way, by doing it personally, you're going to be helping the sector, because by giving us the data, we will be then able to go to our policymakers to change the narrative. So there's a kind of, there's doing it for yourselves as a business and protecting your own business, but you're also protecting the entire sector in the long run. So, please do it. So there's a question: do monitors work externally for the likes of hot tub areas? That's an interesting one.
You mean on the outdoors?
Yeah.
It's on the outdoors. We can look at that case by case. It's not like it cannot be like completely uncovered, but it can be put on if there's a small ceiling or whatever, it works well. So you need to really see how you put it, but it's doable. We have a lot of devices put on the outdoors.
Great. Same person. Extremely good question. If the room monitor team intervene with the guests directly, how do they get the contact details of the guests? Because obviously they're different every week. That's the thing, right?
So the room monitor dashboard provides a place where you can input all those guest information for every apartment. We can do that through an integration depending on the software you're using, or you can do it yourself, but we get the data from there.
Great. Another really positive comment.
Sorry, I just forgot.
Yeah.
Some other property managers, what they do is they give us access to as a only view to certain parts of their PMS or their channel manager. So we just get like very limited access, but we can access to the data. That's part of what we do, and it's important to understand that. We do a tailored work with every account, with every property manager based on how they work, and we do a tailored protocol, actuation protocol based on how you guys work. So it's worth like having a conversation one by one, and we try to make it work as easy as it can.
Yeah, and on that sort of subject, there's another question around you can either pay for the noise monitoring device and you deal with it yourself, as in you get the alert on your phone and you deal with it, or you've got the noise assistant, and that's the extra subscription, isn't it? That's when your team deals with the 24-hour issue.
Yeah, and it's part of how we promote the We Respect. So yeah, you can get it and do it on your own, but in the end, for the We Respect seal, you can do it and you will monitor it on your own and you will deal with everything, etc. But with for the We Respect seal, we need that at least it's seen that someone is taking care of 24/7 of all that, and that's why for the We Respect seal you need to get the alarm assistant. But yeah, if you don't, and our view is that in this case it's not a matter of just thinking individually, but it's thinking at as how many apartments across all of us, we can get on the We Respect seal, because then the ASCC has a much more powerful message like, hey, in March, 1st of March 2022, there was very tiny number of apartments with this kind of technology, and just in 4 months we've achieved this record number, and we are showing that the industries, what happens in all the other cases where we are going, the industries self-regulating to show proactiveness.
Yeah, and that's really what's important right now. We need to lead the way in changing the narrative, and we can do that, but as long as everybody sort of steps up. Glenn's asking, he's looking at figures, which is a good thing. For my small portfolio, that's £4,000 a year. Is there a group discount? I mean, I guess.
Let's look case by case. One important thing is that you can write us at sales@roommonitor.com. I will write it out. I will write it down here for concrete cases. Just write us at.
While you do that, somebody else, Stefan said, a wonderful idea for professional approach to one of the main issues of the business. I like it. So we're getting a really strong sense that professional operators think this is a really good idea, which I'm delighted with.
Well, in fact, what we see is that it helps just distinguish, as you said at the beginning, professionals that are doing things properly from people that is unexperienced and is doing things in a very bad way. 60% of property managers in Barcelona are using this room monitor. 60% it's like a huge number.
That's mad. It's amazing. That's amazing. And when you look at success cases like that, because honestly, 5 years ago, Barcelona was a disaster zone, and at least now the property managers and the operators that are existing are safe because they're not going to get closed down. I just don't know how long it's going to take for Edinburgh and the rest of Scotland to get to that point, but let's do what we can to get there as quickly as possible. Here's a good question. If a neighbour complained that there was noise on a specific date in the past, does Room Monitor have a facility that allows the owner or user to look back at the historical data from the device? If so, how far back does it go?
Yeah, you get historical data since you started the 5 years. She's asking, how far does it go? I think it's unlimited. You have your historical data is taken care of. We don't erase it, so you have it all on the dashboard.
Amazing. Have you had any problems? Have there been any errors in terms of noise monitoring? No, I mean.
No, and we keep improving it more and more. As you say, I think there was something, how many alarms are erroneous, like false?
Yeah.
That's precisely what we try to avoid as much. We know that we need to be very careful of acting when it needs to be acted, but don't act if it's not necessary. So our alarm settings keep improving, and we have very, I would say, very few false positives. But in any case, as this is part of the protocol that we discussed with you in terms of how we set up the working together, and you tell us in this apartment, I need the neighbors are really picky, so I need I need you guys to act at the minimum noise. We put the sensitivity at one level. If in another apartment you want to be a little bit more like relaxed in terms of when to intervene, we put the noise sensitivity at an upper level and therefore at a lower level, and therefore it gives a little bit more of room for gatherings that can be making sound but not really annoying the neighbors in that case.
Brilliant. Really usefully, actually, David said that he's been using one of your competitors' devices for the last while, and it has cut down the number of issues I've had to deal with noise. So that's really good. And there are other products out there on the market.
Yeah.
But those, and they'll do different things and interesting things. What they don't have is the We Respect add-on, which is I think a real added value point, but there are other products on the market. So
And also just for you to be aware, not now, but when we get enough customers in one city, we launch our own night agents on field. So that's not something we're going to launch in Edinburgh day one, but at the moment we have enough apartments in Edinburgh. We don't only do phone calls, we also have our own night agent team there that go and knock on the door if things get out of control. We have that not available in Barcelona, in Madrid, in Paris. It's really helpful. And the moment we get enough, let's say, critical mass in Edinburgh or in any other Scottish city, we will be launching that. And no one else is doing that, and it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, that is an amazing thing. I mean, how many properties do you need before that critical mass happens? Like 300, 400, or
we should check. We should check for every single country. We need to check labor costs, etc. But it would be some hundreds. More. We need to check that. But
wouldn't that be brilliant? Like, so if your neighbor, your guest is causing a problem, they get a text to say, shh, be quiet, behave. And if they don't do anything about it, within half an hour, somebody rocks up on a motorbike to say, actually stop it. I mean, that's really powerful, really powerful.
Yeah. And the set, it's not even, I mean, we would love you guys to be together, to join forces so that we can launch it as fast as possible. But we will be telling you, I mean, at the moment we have enough market share or critical mass to launch it, because it has a lot of cost. Because what we do then is we provide a flat fee. And even if we have to go 1 time or 10 times, the cost is the same. We don't charge you per intervention when we launch that. It's a flat fee. So we need to make sure that we have enough apartments with our devices. But that's I would say that's the end point. For the beginning, we are starting with the call center, which also proves to be super helpful. We have a lot of customers that we take care of remotely. And not only that, but also I think that in your case, the We Respect seal is what can make the difference, because then we do a lot of press release saying that the We Respect seal has been launched and it's getting like a lot of traction, and we keep providing data in terms of the incidents, of how many percentage of stays are truly problematic. And you will see that the numbers are tiny. We provide data on which kind of sound issues there are in the city, and some of them are just like TV that is too loud and not that huge party issues. So we provide a lot of things that can help you cut or change the narrative from the local stakeholders.
Brilliant. Somebody else, again, using one of your competitors, who also the device actually measures temperature, humidity, intruder alarm, and that sort of thing. Now, that's obviously a massive positive. Your device doesn't do that, but obviously it has other positives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which one? The one on what? Temperature, humidity, and all of that, right? Are you
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, those are things that we will keep incorporating. That's not hard to do. It's just that our product and once we incorporate it, those things will be rolled out. So it's not a big deal.
Amazing. I like that. Fluid. Glenn's asked, do you first get a formal assurance from the local councils in new areas that your data is admissible? I think that given that from what I have seen, you can prove that the data is accurate, and it's way more accurate than the data that they currently have in terms of antisocial behaviour issues. So when we did an FOI to all the local authorities last year, there was, I mean, probably a sum total of 35 noise issues associated with the self-catering sector. So this is going to provide the evidence. It is factual evidence. It's not possibly inadmissible. So, and we will keep pushing that. And the more data that we have to give them, the more data that we will have to provide, a solid case. So I think,
sorry to interrupt.
No, go for it.
No, I think that I don't have the information for the local councils. That's for sure. I'm not updated on that. But yes, from Airbnb and the other platforms, and that's also very valid because they have insurance. They have insurance that will cover you or deposits that you will be able to get in case there are things that didn't work as expected. So that's a way, even if it's not the city council, in case you need to go to court, but with the OTAs, at least you get your listing more protected.
Yeah. There was concern about one episode, shall we say, I think it was 2017. I really need to get out more. When the case wasn't reversed because, and she could provide noise monitoring data. I can't remember what noise monitoring data that case actually had. But that's not the grounds on which it was refused. The other thing is to say that in Edinburgh, the new head of planning is actually a really reasonable chap. And he seems to be, he really wants to refute the idea that this is going to become a de facto ban. Now, obviously, I will hold him to account on that one. And he is looking at it on a case-by-case basis. So everything that we can prove in terms of evidence and positivity is worth pursuing. You know, for the negligible sum of money involved in adopting this type of technology, it is surely worth whether you lose or keep your business, in my opinion. And the more people that do it and the more people that are part of the We Respect seal, the better the whole system is. And if that means protecting all of the professional, legitimate businesses in Edinburgh and beyond, then that's what we need to do. And, you know, I think, you know, the SSE always is here to try and provide solutions and protect the sector. That's why we're here.
And part of our work as Room Monitor, but also as We Respect, is that if we see critical mass getting We Respect seals, we will bring some of our stakeholders from Barcelona to support the case there, right? I mean, the Barcelona Short-Term Rental Association can come to do a speech in an auditorium or wherever, where we can invite local stakeholders. We can even try to get a politician or whatever. We have a very good case study, and it's not just that we are here to sell the product, but we know that we need to fight for a long-term sustainability, and the We Respect brand is working it's working separately from Room Monitor to make it happen. Yeah,
and that's the great thing. So I think with 3 minutes to go before 7 o'clock, and it's obviously later where you are, Carlos, I think we should wrap this up. But thank you so much for everybody coming along this evening, and thanks for all your questions. And if you need to know anything, please do contact Carlos and the guys at Room Monitor, or contact me and we'll put you in touch with them, anything at all. But really, really, really valuable session, Carlos. Thank you so much for your time and for explaining what's quite a complicated problem can be solved in quite a simple way. So yeah, thank you so much, Carlos.
Thanks for that. I just put here both my email, but I will redirect it to the sales department. I'm the CEO, but I want you to have access so they see that we are very, very close to you. And both my email address and the sales at Room Monitor address. And yeah, we're here to help, to support. And I would love that this gets traction, because for us, it's like the best opportunity to replicate our playbook and support you in your fight.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And
thanks a lot.
The video will be shared in the next sort of 24 hours. So yeah, have a great evening, everyone. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.